very good afternoon to you and welcome to yet another exciting edition of your favorite business development program on radio, Masterclass. Masterclass is powered by Joy Business and brought to us by Goyle. Goyle, good energy, Goyle, Yenara, Yedia. We're also excited to mention that Masterclass today is also brought to us by JL Properties. JL Properties, the city's favorite developer. Masterclass comes your way every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. and runs all the way through to 2:15 p.m. here on your superstation Joy 99.7. My name, as always, is Barnafo, and I'm excited to be your host for today's edition of Masterclass. Last week and the weeks before that, the entire month of April, we spent some time here in the studio talking with Joyce Sikachum, who's the CEO of Self-Search, talking about coaching. And in that conversation, let me just say a quick good afternoon to Auntie Joyce if you're listening to us. And thank you so much for passing through last month and sharing those wonderful thoughts with us. By the time she finished her show here last week, everyone here in the studio was saying that they felt like they needed a coach. And indeed, that was one of the things that she talked about. A few of the things she talked about stayed with me very strongly. She talked about the emerging field of coaching. She talked about the branches and the functions of coaching. But she also talked about the women-centered approach to coaching and the fact that coaching needed to understand women to be able to be relevant to their process. Not singling out the men, but also helping us to understand the relevance of the entire process to our women. But one thing she said that sort of stayed with me, if you like, was that everybody needs a coach. Everybody needs a coach. Sometimes we think that, we've been to school, we've been there, we've been here, and we've done that, and therefore we know it all. But information becomes obsolete real quick, and especially today, that change is moving real quick and real dynamic. So everybody needs a coach. That's one thing that stayed with me. I do hope that for your own businesses, for your entrepreneurs, for your customers, for your stakeholders, you learned something as a business owner, which you are going back to apply to your business, because all of the information that we share here is pro bono and it's meant to help your businesses to grow and become better. So make sure that whenever Masterclass is on, you tune in and learn something for your business pro bono. Like all things, good things, it's come to an end, that conversation, and we're moving into another area of conversation. Business is ever changing, like all things. The terrain is different these days. There's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of dynamism. And so in recent times, I think from COVID, we've heard very strongly the conversation on automation, on digitization, on digitalization, the differences between the two. Uncle Ebo, good afternoon to you if you're listening. He came here and shared those differences with us. But we've been talking about cyber, its risks, its securities, different aspects of it. And today we're going to be looking at artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence. I'm sure that you've heard about it in one conversation or the other. We're talking about robots. We're talking about developing apps, softwares that can do things on their own, begin to behave like human beings, begin to think like human beings. Opinion is divided when we talk about AI, because people think that, all those computers are going to come and take our jobs and then we won't have any jobs to do. Or they're going to take over our lives and be able to, push us to the back and make us obsolete. Others are also thinking that, but we also need to improve efficiency of process across the world. We need to be able to look at data and interpret that data so that it helps us to make good decisions, forecast the future, if you like. Someone once said that the best way to predict the future is to create it. Well, computers today are able to help us to be able to do that, to be able to look at the data today and tell us what we are going to do tomorrow. If you study data on your habits of, let me just use a simple thing, of how you go home every day from work. Think about it. How you go home every day from work. Would you realize that for some of us, you have used the same route to go home from work for the last 1 month? It means that if I'm looking at that data, the chances of you going home using the same route this week will be about over 90%. All of that and more is what we are talking about when we talk about interpreting data. And we have one of our very own, a friend of Masterclass, who's been here a couple of times, a friend of multimedia, Kobe Spiky Nkrumah, who's also a tech consultant and the host of Geek Squad. He's going to be spending some time with us in the next 4 weeks talking to us about artificial intelligence and business. If it's here today, we might as well make use of it and help our businesses. Kobe, you're welcome to the conversation.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
I'm excited. All sorts of things are going through my mind. But like I said before we started the show, I'm going to let you do the talking. Let's create perspective, if you like. I always like to start and assume that we know nothing because the levels of knowledge and information are varied.
Right.
So let's assume that once we're doing this on radio, let's start from a clean slate. What is AI? How is it relevant? How is it different from automation? What is the context? Let's set a context. And then let's begin to now draw inference from that context to businesses, if you like. But before, I know you're gonna blow this one through the roof. But before you do, I spent a bit of time when I was preparing, and I went online to find out what are people saying about AI. What is it? What are people's understanding of AI? And there's a gentleman called Sam Altman. Sam Altman is an American entrepreneur, is an investor, and is a programmer. And here's what Sam Altman says. He says AI will probably, most likely, lead to the end of the world. But in the meantime, there will be great companies. Artificial intelligence, according to Sam Altman, will probably, most likely, lead to the end of the world. But in the meantime, there will be great companies. This is Sam Altman. Oren Etzioni is also an American entrepreneur, professor emeritus of computer science, and a founding CEO of the Allen Institute of Artificial Intelligence. Here's what he also had to say about AI. AI is neither good nor evil. It is a tool. It is a technology for us to use. Oren Etzioni on AI. It is neither good nor evil. It is a tool. It is technology for us to use. And let me share one last one. This is by Grace Scott. Grace Scott is a futurist, is a techno-philosopher, and a world-leading expert in the emerging field of technology. We're streaming live on Facebook. For those of you who want to join us, every one of these names I've mentioned, Kobe is just nodding and smiling. I think he had breakfast with these guys before. But we're streaming live on Facebook. If you want to join us, please go to our Facebook page and watch the show. Here's what Grace Scott had to say. Grace Scott says, there is no reason and no way that a human mind can keep up with an artificial intelligence machine by the year 2035. Grace Scott, a futurist, a techno-philosopher, and a world-leading expert in the field of emerging technology, has this to say about AI. He says, and I quote, there is no reason and no way that a human mind can keep up with artificial intelligence by the year 2035. AI in business today. You can start from the world stage, bring it down to Africa, bring it down to West Africa, and bring it to Ghana. I want my listeners sitting in Swami Magazine or Abosokai to understand what this conversation is about and how they can leverage on it to help their business and how they cannot exclude themselves. When people say, me, all of these things I don't understand, I don't want to be a part of it. Let's create an understanding that you can't run away from it.
True.
So I think I'll stop talking at this point. Kobe, please talk to us about AI.
Okay.
Create some context for us.
So first off, I'm sure a lot of people have heard AI and all they know is artificial intelligence. But basically what artificial intelligence is, we'll break it into two parts and we'll focus on the intelligence part. So intelligence essentially is the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. Right? So once we take that intelligence, which is what we define our intelligence as human beings as, and we apply that same intelligence to a computer, or we ask a computer to be intelligent, we're asking it to acquire and apply knowledge and skills.
Understand when to say what and when not to say what, how to use what to do.
To do what?
And to get the best output out of it each time.
Each time. So you're taking that thing that you've learned. Now, what people need to understand is the same way we acquired these skills and we learned them over time, because it wasn't instant. There's not any human being in this world that knows anything and it was all of a sudden. It was a skill that was acquired over time. It's knowledge that was acquired over time. It's the same thing when you take it and you apply it to a computer. So the computer is doing it artificially, which is why it's called artificial intelligence.
Is that what they call machine learning?
Exactly. So the machine is learning.
So we'll be throwing a few terms around. I mean, I'll make a list of them. But please, when we get interactive, I want you to pick up that phone. Let's learn together. Because this thing is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. And it's part of our lives, whether we like it or not. Please continue. Machine learning.
Sure. So machine learning is essentially the machines learning. And how do they learn? They learn based on data that is fed them over time. So you take any machine that you want it to be intelligent, you feed it the data so it learns it. And the other things that, I'm not going to bore or confuse our listeners with, but essentially how our brains work is we have neural patterns. We have a neural network in our brain, and this is being simulated in an artificial intelligence system. So in basic terms, artificial intelligence is just intelligence, which is the acquisition and application of skills and knowledge artificially. That's all.
And this is what our brain does normally on a day-to-day
Yes.
without us even blinking.
Without us blinking. So you're learning how to play the piano. You're acquiring the skill of playing the piano. That's the intelligence that you're doing. So you apply it.
That's even a far-fetched example. Let's look at when you wake up after you've fallen asleep. How do you know which way is up and which way is down?
Essentially, that's the human body has learned that
It's
and known.
amazing the things that the mind can do, eh?
Today I was watching a video on LinkedIn. There was a baby that was trying to get off a bed and realized that the distance between the top of the bed and the ground was far. And the baby threw 3 pillows to the ground. How the baby knew that the pillows would break its fall softly just beat my mind. And the caption was, the baby is visualizing to us what risk management is basically. So it's managing the risk of falling by putting, those pillows down there. Now, you take that and apply it to computers. Computers, unlike humans, cannot learn everything unless it's programmed. You can't expect a computer to be able to do things without you telling it what to do. And I mean, in context, since we're going to be teaching people about artificial intelligence and business, people just need to know that using AIs essentially is you're teaching your system how to acquire a skill and apply it in whatever you're going to, or whatever field that you're doing. So what people have learned or heard about when it comes to AI a lot is ChatGPT. Everywhere, ChatGPT.
I'm sure we'll get there. I mean, it's a big word today. But I just wanted to chip this in that the point you make very strongly, and which I want us to highlight, is that as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as an employee, as a GM, as a COO, you are intelligent and you have the power to create. We are now teaching machines to do what you can do naturally without any help. So don't underestimate yourself. As a business owner, if you put your mind to it, you can do it. I just wanted to say that.
Yes, absolutely. And I like that you put that out there because it also buttresses the points or the facts why AI is essential in business now, because we can do things, but there's a limit to what we can do. By 5 o'clock, we're tired. We have to go home. But that system is not going to get tired. That system is going to keep working. So your computers only get tired when you shut them down, or only when they've been pushed to their limits. And if your machine is reaching its limits, you can always find one that can do more or that can do better. So the advantage of using these tools, like you mentioned, as some of the quotes that you mentioned earlier, that AI is a tool. The advantage of using these tools is that it's not going to call in sick. It's not going to close at 5 o'clock, and it's going to work faster, much faster and more efficient.
The processing speed
and more efficient than anything that or any team that you have. And yeah, that brings a certain dynamic that we'll get to later. But essentially, companies are looking for ways to be either more efficient, get better results, and also process things faster. So AI, these are some of the benefits that you're going to get if you implement an artificially intelligent system in your operation. So moving on from that, and some of the skills that these AI tools have learned, some have focused on language processing, which is why when I mentioned ChatGPT. So we'll get to a point where we'll explain what ChatGPT is, but language processing is a skill that we as humans do naturally, and we think and we expect that everybody should be able to do. The same way when you're learning a new language, you have to go and learn all the nuances, all the synonyms, all the vocabulary before you can really claim to be an expert in that language. So an AI...
You learn how to say things like, I would like to buy some eggs. I was thinking I could say that in airway as I learned it, but I don't want to. You
know, when you mentioned that, I remember the first time I went to the Volta region, and I learned that, you want to buy something, say, maple this, maple that.
I would like to buy 1 egg.
1 egg.
And so you always ask, how do you say this and that?
And
how do you say this and that?
I went to say I want to buy water, and I said, I'm a plechi. And people all started laughing. I'm like, but I said I want to buy water. I said, no. When you're buying water, I say majechi. I'm like, why is that, so
it's
different?
like when you're learning French and they say there's feminine and masculine. I never understood that thing. How language can be feminine and masculine. But that's the beauty of that.
That is the beauty of that.
And we're saying that all these dynamics can be taught to a machine.
Exactly. And once the computer learns, the machine or the system learns these things, it becomes better with time and with as much data as you feed it. That's the key word here, the data. Because without data, you don't have an artificially intelligent system, or you don't even have an intelligent system, let alone it being called artificially intelligent. You need as much data as possible to feed to the system because it learns from that and it improves, which is why Google's AI system called Bard taught itself a language that it wasn't taught. But because it had access to the data, it could teach itself that language.
It's frightening.
That is indeed frightening, because you and I would not be able to learn Bengali in a few days if we were given $1 billion. But an artificial intelligence system, since it's committed, it's dedicated to one cause, is able to process as much data as it can. You and I cannot finish reading a book in a day, let alone seconds, let alone milliseconds. But you have systems that can scour the internet, scour databases, and learn everything just from all this that has been fed to it. So the data is important, then it learns that skill. So talking about language processing, back to ChatGPT, it's a system that's been taught to learn the language and communicate in as natural a way as possible. Now this is important because hitherto, if you had to give a computer an instruction, it had to be in a language the computer understood, which is why you had coders, which was why you had people who would write programs that would communicate with a computer, which is why you had to learn a language for a computer. So you have people learning HTML if they want to build websites. You had people learning Python if they want to do data science, R, React. So you have all these languages that the computer understands, and it understands these languages because that's how it's been programmed to work. Now, we're getting to an era where these computers can be taught to understand us. There's an inside joke about, that we share as programmers, where if you ask, so it's something that I do a lot. When people ask me something and they're not very detailed, they're not very specific, I act as dumb as possible and do exactly that. So if you say, I want you to go to the market and get me 4 eggs. If they have bread, bring 2. Under normal circumstances, that means that if you go out there to go and buy the eggs and you find that they have bread, buy 2. If you tell that to a computer and the computer gets there and they have bread, it doesn't know that you says that because they have eggs, it should buy 2 bread. It thinks that you said because they have bread, it should buy 2 eggs. You asked it to buy 4 eggs, but then it got there and then, okay, so if eggs is equal to yes and bread is equal to yes, bring 2 eggs, because that's a command. That's how computers understand stuff. It's very serial, and you have to really explain things in detail. So you have to break it down and be like, if bread is equals to yes and eggs is equals to yes, bring bread 2, bring eggs 4.
You have to be specific.
Extremely specific.
And that's the beauty of a human mind, because we don't have to go through all of that.
Exactly.
We just get it.
So if now computers can understand this, so if you use any natural language processing tool like ChatGPT or an AI that understands natural language processing, and you tell it this same statement, it would understand the context and respond.
I love the picture we're painting about general life and technology. Let's paint that same picture in business. So let's talk to our business people. The things you do on a day-to-day basis, you make business decisions. You read information on sales targets. You project. You do projections. You decide how much stock you want to hold, how much raw material. You have data, and as for the data, it's not sitting somewhere. You are creating it every day. You are just not using it. Everybody who lives, so long as you wake up in the morning and you get out of your bed, you are creating data. So as a company, you are generating data. How many customers came in? How many walked by? How many came to ask for the price of this? How much raw material did you buy? How long did this sit on your shelves before you utilized it? When you utilized it, what was the time between when you utilized it and when you sold it? What was the time value of money in terms of, all of those things are available. How will AI make that better? Let's paint that picture for our business owners.
Great. So
the everyday things in business.
The everyday things in business, let's start off with the data. Because data is the fuel that powers AI. Data is the fuel that should power every business. I think we've even discussed this on this show where we've talked about how important data is and how it's cleanliness. And I'll get to that in a bit.
Data integrity.
Data integrity. So data is very, very important. I always crack this joke about how if I was selling pure on the streets, I would want not to be burnt by the sun at all, because I would be using the data based on how I sell. And it's important that businesses know this, because in every decision you're taking in the growth of your business or whatever you do, you need to collect that data and use it to train either your employees, yourself, and to make decisions.
Improve your outputs.
Exactly, improve your output, basically. So I'll start off by talking about, let's say, automating some of the processes. So you have a lot of processes in a lot of businesses. Every business has a different process. And the better your process is, or the more efficient your process is, the better your output. So if you spend less time doing a task, it means that you're going to have more time to do other tasks. And that is, it's even better because then you don't get exhausted. One, your output is better, and you can guarantee that you can have more time to do other things. So
an efficient use of time, really.
Efficient use of time. When people say, oh, but that means that we're getting lazy. No, I don't believe that hard work is the only way to making businesses succeed. You have to also work smart. And I'm sure this has been, reiterated by so many other people.
And let's reiterate it some more. Please, you're a business owner, you're listening to us, you're an entrepreneur. Time was, there's dispensations and times and seasons. There's a reason why the sun shines during the day and the moon shines at night. Time was back in the day when we were talking about hard work. Today, the narrative is changing. You have to work smart. It's not about the strength. It's about the output. If you can put in 2 hours and get a result of 10. Now we are saying if you put in 2 hours, you can get 15. Why do you still do the 10?
Exactly.
We are moving forward.
Exactly.
Working smart doesn't mean cutting corners. It means working smart. It means that there is still potential in the effort to achieve more output rather than what we are doing. And a lot of Ghanaian businesses do this. We are satisfied with the little we get.
Yeah.
Somebody once said to me, one of my very senior financial executives says, yeah, are you aware that most businesses in Makola are making losses? I said, what do you mean? He said they put $100,000 in, let's say, a pharmacy business, and they make back $300,000, and they say they've made 3 times. But the potential of that $100,000 was $500,000 within the period under conversation. And because they made 300, they are okay.
Yeah.
This is why we're making losses. Please, let us maximize to the zenith the potential of the effort that we are putting in. That's when we're getting good output. Absolutely. And that's what AI is coming to help us to do.
Exactly. So let's put this into context, what you just said. A lot of time could have been saved by some businesses in their processes using certain AI tools. I'll give a typical example. So data entry. And when you say data entry, you don't necessarily mean something advanced where somebody is entering so much data. Even something as simple as just taking stock or inventory, all that kind of stuff can be done faster. If I was employed in a company and I always had to sit down, I was speaking to a friend recently, and what that person has to do every day is to log stuff that happens on a day-to-day. And I'm like, you write? And the shock in my voice and my face was like, yeah, I write, don't you? I'm like, I chose my field of work because I hate pens and paper, and I really wish we could do away with that so we could just, so what would you do? I'm like, you already have this happening. Your phone has a camera. Do you know your phone can actually convert text, even written or typed, to editable text? Like, really? Just gave an example. Just took one picture, scanned it with my phone, and converted it to text, copied it into Microsoft Word, saved it. You can even copy it into Excel, create that database right there. You can even import straight from the camera to Excel, saving you time.
Kobe, let's do this very, very briefly. For my business owners, and today I'm focusing on my listeners from Swami Magazine and Abusuke. You can do this. We're talking about AI. So at some point, Kobe, you're going to tell us what this whole AI thing is about. We're talking about how to make your businesses better. You guys have stock. You buy machines, you're servicing, you have spare parts and all of that. This is one thing you can do for free. Each one of us who is listening to me this afternoon, you have a phone. And it's not a YAM phone. You have a smartphone. What we're saying is that it is possible to use your smartphone to improve your processes. And Kobe, in the coming weeks, will show us how to do it. So please write this down. How do I make my business better? Data capture. You don't need to even go and buy a computer. Your phone, the one that you are making calls on. We are using our phone. How underutilized are our phones these days?
Extremely. I speak to a lot of people, and it's only WhatsApp, sometimes a camera, sometimes a voice recorder, make calls, send messages. Even the SMSs is only to get OTP from the bank or to check their bank balance when they do a transaction.
That's all.
Besides that, a lot of people don't use
your phones
their phones for anything.
Are powerful computers which can make your life better. Business owners, write this down for me. At some point, we'll show you how to use your phone to capture data. Kobe, let's remember to do this in the 4 weeks.
We definitely will.
Okay, please continue.
I'll write it down. So with even taking a picture, so let's say somebody sends you a picture of a long list of items. Some smartphones, most of them actually right now, can extract text from pictures. So you tap and hold on the text and just drag down. You've highlighted all the text. You've saved yourself so much time rather than now opening the phone, and most of them are probably wearing glasses. So you're like, and then you write it down, look here, write it down. Your phone can connect to a printer, extract that text, paste it into whichever word processing or data processing to either Microsoft Word or Excel, paste it in there, print it. Get a wireless printer. They cost less than 1,000 Ghana cedis now, and your phone does everything. Some phones can even connect to a monitor and then becomes a whole computer for you. So you don't need to have double devices. Now,
But how easy is it to do that? I think that people don't know that it's possible. You see, I don't want us to rush today. Today we're setting the tone, the conversation. We're saying that AI is here to make your work better. It's essentially using information that you have already every day, but getting the best output of it. How can you do it? We're saying that for data, where data is concerned, you can use your phones to maximize data.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk you through how to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
I just want people to go away with something from this conversation today, because I don't want them to think that, oh, it's AI, oh, it's computer. Computer, I don't know anything about it. It's simple.
For those who are using iPhones or Samsungs, if you take a picture of any text, just tap and hold on the text, it will highlight it. It's that simple. Put your finger. If it's a Samsung, you can even take a step further to extract all the text. Then when you open an image on your phone and go to your gallery, the Samsung gallery, you see a small T in the bottom right corner. When you tap on it, automatically it detects all the text in the image.
Can we do this next week? Maybe not today, because I have to run it, by my producer. Can we demonstrate it next week?
We can. I can probably cast it from my phone.
Yes, next week. So next week, Masterclass, please tell all those who are listening, make a day, don't miss it. We're going to demonstrate how to use your phone to take a photograph of text and drag it down and use your phone to process that data. So we can all become better for it. And it's pro bono right here on Masterclass. Joy FM is bringing this to you for free. Always tune into Masterclass. Kobe.
Yes. So beyond that, then we talk about in data processing or in artificial intelligence, using artificial intelligence tools, it identifies patterns. In business, you have to see a pattern in certain events to be able to make a prediction. So you notice, and I'm going to go back to my pure water seller. If I was a pure water seller and I knew that I was just selling pure water, let's say at this point, and every day between 9 and say 12, I sell pure water there. And I was logging that, okay, I came here 9 a.m. Let me start from 7 a.m. in the morning. I came there at 7 a.m. The early bird catches the worm. So I came there early, 7, started selling my pure water, and then putting it out there, logging. Okay, so I sold 3 bottles. I sold 4 bottles by 8 o'clock. By 11:12, I sold 27 bottles. Let's look at tomorrow. Same thing happens. I see the trend. I see the pattern. Okay, so what this means is that between 11 and 12, I'm selling more. I mean, obvious reasons. The sun is up. In the morning that I came here as early, I wasn't selling as much. What does that tell me as a business person?
Don't go and stand there and waste your time.
Exactly. But if I wasn't capturing this data and I wasn't, processing and I wasn't examining the patterns in this, I wouldn't have seen that trend and I wouldn't have identified that I am not being efficient by going there at 7. Let's take it on a larger scale. In a business that is processing more. You can't do that yourself. You can't have one person looking at all that data. We're talking about, thousands of lines of logging and all that. That's where an artificially intelligent tool comes in. You feed that data to the tool, the tool processes it and shows you a pattern. That's what we call analytics. So for those who use social media, you can check your analytics and see, okay, so the comments I get, this is how many times.
Let's use an example of an importer.
Right.
Who needs to determine what kind of products to import at what time in the year.
That's very, very perfect. So if you're importing products, let's use an FMCG, let's say, for instance, you know that based on the data you've collected, this product A, sold a lot more from January to March. Product B sold a lot more from March to April. Product A sold again. Product C didn't sell at all, except maybe somewhere in the same country. Product C is selling maybe in the north more than even in the south, but you don't know.
And there are beverages.
So
what's accounting for that? And there's so much information you can gather from
exactly.
these
And
things.
all this you would have known if you were capturing the data, you were processing that data. And with that, you can tell that, okay, So if I'm importing, you know how much you've sold, how much is remaining, basically because you have essentially applied AI to your stock taking, your inventory as well. So it's letting you know that this is how much you've sold, this is how much is left, and it can process and tell you that based on the analytics, based on what we've processed from last year, next year, invest more. Let's say buy this product more, reduce this, increase this, or maybe buy this within this period, or buy it earlier at this time where the cost was lower. So, or we can buy we can buy it towards the end of the year from this seller because they sell cheaper at this time because nobody's buying from their store.
Or establish off-takers before you go and put your money there.
Exactly.
Or determine how long it's... There's so much you can do.
So much you can do.
Kobe, I want our listeners to be a part of this conversation. There's so much that we're talking about. But write this question down for me when we come back. I want you to start with that. What's the difference between automation and AI? I know that it's a big thing, but at least for those of our listeners who want to be able to draw a distinction, to be able to make that relevant. But if you've just joined us, this is Masterclass here on your Superstation Joy 99.7. We're going to get interactive shortly, but before we do that, we take a quick message from our sponsors. When we come back, we get interactive.
Owning a home in a clean, serene, strategic neighborhood should not be a luxury, but a necessity. And at JL Properties, we make that dream a reality. JL Properties gives you value for your money in our fully gated and managed communities in North Airport, Achimota, and North Kaneshi. Enjoy reliable refuse collection, external area maintenance, and security in all JL communities. Make your home with us by logging onto jlpropertiesgh.com. JL Properties, the city's favorite developer.
Yo, chairman, what they go on for your side?
Charlie, hard times, so see. I try say I go stake back for this side, sir, but I know they work. See, they also the job for this side.
Oh, Charlie, yeah, wow. But why you not the stake for soccer bet, eh?
You say what? Soccer bet?
Yes, they are back with the highest odds, bro. You for look sharp, oh.
When winning is important enough, you do it when the odds are not in your favor. But with soccer bet, the odds are in your favor. Bet on the highest odds in any soccer bet shop or simply download the soccer bet mobile app and bet anywhere. With soccer bet, stand the chance to win and get your cash instantly. Soccer bet, your best bet for sports betting. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly. Gaming can be addictive, not for persons below 18 years.
Your favorite on-air business development program, Joy Business Masterclass, is in session, and you can interact with us on Facebook via the Joy 99.7 FM or Joy Business pages. If you tweet, the handle is at Joy 997 FM or at Joy Business GH. Don't forget to hashtag JB Masterclass. You can also call us on 0302 216541 or send your questions and contributions through to the WhatsApp number 0551 111997, and our facilitators will address your concerns. Attention everyone, class is in progress.
Welcome back. If you've just tuned in, this is Masterclass here on your Superstation Joy 99.7. We're interactive right now. Numbers to call 0302 216 541. That's 0302 216 541. You can also send us your comments on social media on WhatsApp on 055 1111997. If you're driving, please do not text while you drive, because we definitely want you to arrive alive. But otherwise, send us a text on 055 1111997, or pick up that phone and give us a call 0302 216 541. Kobe, automation
And AI. So
I can see the face of my group head of technology asking the question about technology. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Tamaklo, if you're listening. That's why I'm asking this question.
So automation and AI.
Oh, and just remind our listeners
Right.
that Masterclass today is brought to us by Goyle. Goyle Good Energy, Goyle Yenara Edia, and also by JL Properties. JL Properties, they are the city's favorite developer. In fact, Kobe, before you even go on, let me talk a bit about JL Properties. Are you looking to invest in any properties yourself, Kobe?
Oh,
You
yes,
should.
I
You
am
should.
looking into
You should, and you should get in touch with JL Properties so that you can help them use AI to improve their business.
Absolutely.
And here's what they have to say. JL Properties has been building homes for more than a decade. Enjoy the ease of owning a fully completed home or choose from your off-plan packages. At JL Properties, you can make internal adjustments to your existing home or to your home while it's being built. A home from JL Properties means peace of mind and value for money. Make your home with JL Properties today. Visit them at www.jlpropertiesgh.com or call 0509 542 973 or 0302 449037. JL Properties, the city's favorite developer. Masterclass today is also brought to us by Goyle. Goyle, they say good energy, Goyle, Yanara, Yedia. If you have any motor vehicle of any kind, then Goyle has some great news for you. Goyle is asking that you drive to the nearest Goyle station and buy your fuel and also pay by Momo or bank card or the Goyle Go card. Goyle, good energy, Goyle, Yanara, Yedia. Automation AI, very quickly. Phone lines are open. Numbers to call 0302216 541. Give us a call. Let's hear your thoughts. How do you understand this whole conversation on AI? How does it affect your business? How can you leverage on it? This is new, but this is not going anywhere. It's either we learn and we change and we adapt, or we become obsolete. Pick up that phone. Give us a call. 0302216 541. Talk to me, Kobe.
Automation versus AI.
Yes.
Very, very similar, yet very, very different. So automation requires that you program it to do something. So a task that is repetitive, that is arduous, that is dangerous. So
whenever somebody crosses this line, beep.
Or
count.
Factory conveyor belts in a factory where I remember I watched this episode of Charlie Chaplin where all they were doing was tightening bolts in a factory. That job is repetitive. It's dangerous as well because if you miss, something hits your hand. But then you could automate it. You could have a robot do it repetitively, do those tasks and never miss. Because imagine if Charlie Chaplin was about to do it and he sneezed, he would miss one.
Of course.
And that bolt goes on to go and fit on a car and somebody buys that car, is driving down the road and
has
an accident.
yeah.
Exactly. Artificial intelligence does almost the same thing. You can use AI to automate things. The thing is, artificial intelligence would adapt and learn. So once it's learning from what it's doing about this whole process of what is happening, AI can just be there and be like, this could be more efficient. We could actually shorten the conveyor belt, reduce the gaps between this thing, and then program the robots to come down in a shorter period rather than it waiting 5 seconds, stopping, coming down. That's more time wasting. We could, make that process more efficient. Now that's what the AI would do for you.
I'm quiet because it's become abundantly obvious to me that the difference is that one process involves thinking.
Yes.
The ability to learn and therefore synonymously think.
Yes.
And the other is just repetitive.
Just repetitive.
And continuous until changed.
So continue doing that. And so you could say that a lot of people are on autopilot, as we like saying. A person is on autopilot because they're just doing the same thing repetitively. They're not learning. They're not changing. But if you adapt, then you change, then you evolve, then you improve. Then you
Planes
become
have
better.
autopilot.
Yes.
Have they started landing with autopilot?
So, I was going to use self-driving cars as an example because planes have autopilot. Because once they get into the air, it's following a certain trajectory. And I've heard from certain pilots that certain planes can land on their own, but they still have to provide that human intervention as and when.
Are they not just humoring us? At some point, these planes will land on their own.
Oh, I won't be surprised if they are. I think that some planes, I can't speak on authority because I don't know what kind of regulations that allow.
If you have you're listening to us on Masterclass, you have any information on the use of AI in planes, either landing or taking off, do share with us. Send us your comments on 05511111997 or pick up that phone, give us a call 0302216 541. But let's bring the conversation home. Let's make it relevant to our specific context.
Exactly. So with Ghana, for instance, automation. So if I was automating a business, I'll still go back to the pure water business because I would have, like, let's say, a cart that would be, because most of our pure water is sold at the traffic lights, that would be monitoring the traffic light. The moment it goes red, this cart goes into the middle of the road, and the path has object avoidance system, so it's going straight looking at anybody. So if anybody just signals, looks for a hand signal, stops, offers you a bottle. But it wouldn't learn. It would
That's
always
free advice you just
to
gave
someone,
right there.
yeah, to start a business.
And it was here on Masterclass.
So an AI version of that would know when someone even probably would want water just by also looking at facial reaction. So if someone is maybe hyperventilating or something, it can detect that this person probably needs water and then go straight to the person and suggest, would you like a bottle of water?
That's spooky.
Yes, an automated system can't do that because
Right.
it's been programmed to only follow certain paths. But an AI system would monitor, body temperature, would monitor behavior, and then be like, okay, this means this person might need water, and might look at even the distance somebody has traveled by the temperature of the car itself. So you know that, okay, this person's been traveling for a while. That's the benefit of AI, and applying that to your Swami magazine people and the rest. Depending if they could plug in to the import database, they would know how many cars have been imported from a certain brand, process that data, and then you'd know that, okay, this year, a lot more Toyotas and Hondas were imported rather than Mercedes and BMW. It wouldn't make sense to import BMW and
How many
Mercedes
cars are in
cars.
Kumasi? How many
You know
are
exactly
which brand?
how many have been
How
registered.
many times have which one gone for servicing? Which ones last longer? Which ones are consuming more? Which parts are getting destroyed more? Which ones are being replaced more? All of that will
You know the
inform-
smartest thing that the AI can also do? Being a model that learns, it can actually also monitor recalls. And because we do not send cars out, it can then access a database and then tell you that these cars have been recalled in recent times. And in Ghana, you have this number of cars in the in the industry or in the country. It would be advisable to import these parts because they will be needing to replace them soon. So Takata airbags have been recalled. Cars with Takata airbags have been recalled. Ghanaians are not replacing those ones because they don't do recalls. Let's import replacement airbags and reach out to anybody you see in traffic and say, hey, your car is part of recall. Or also plug into your social media. Use AI to search people's... I mean, this gets spooky.
I think social media is one of the biggest things in Ghana today.
Yeah. It is.
I mean, I know it's across the world as well, but I'm talking about Ghana. And one of the things I have found in the last 1 week or two is that locations. Somebody goes somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and people have become content creators. So people have become tour guides on their own. They go to a place where nobody has been before, in the middle of nowhere. They do a reel on, this can be found here, and this is how much to spend, and put it on social media, and it explodes.
Yep.
And everybody wants to go there, and very soon they don't have the hands to handle it. I think that's a beautiful thing, and we can harness it
Exactly.
and re-engineer it back to our businesses.
So, perfect example. You've got the data, you've got the solution, you have social media to reach out to people because people do not know. So you use that social media for their awareness and your education and tell people to reach out to you for the solution. Then you've got a business. So you see online, people are posting how AI is helping them, make millions and all that. It's not doing the job for them. It's processing the data and helping them make something out of it. You're a baker. You're making cakes. You have data. All you have to do is just, if you could, and this is data breach, this is data privacy breach, but a lot of people have their birthdays on social media. If you got that data and you used artificial intelligence to process it, and you know how many people will be celebrating their birthday, and you could send them newsletters, your AI could automatically do this for you. Send newsletters because you have their emails, they've signed up with you.
As I talk, I'm even getting an idea. You don't just send it to them. You know how, God help us, there's so much vulnerability online. People put everything online.
Yeah.
So what I would do with the cake example, not just the person, I would send them a happy birthday, but I would send a message to all their friends and say, it is Kobe's birthday.
Would you like to get them
5
a cake?
days. Would you like to buy them?
Absolutely. You see,
I can deliver it. Just send your
Exactly.
payment to this number or whatever.
and now you don't even have to send that
No.
message. Your AI is going to do that for you. The AI would even couch a very attractive message because you have a natural language processing AI that understands the language.
And this is an idea that all the businesses who are listening to us today can adopt. It's free. You got to hear a masterclass for free. Joy FM has sponsored it for you to get it free today. We can use AI to mine data on your customers and use that information to reach out to them before they make a decision. Today, the customer wants to wake up in bed, roll over. The first thing you do is you reach for your phone, and then they check. And then the message is, it is Kobe's birthday tomorrow. Hey, I almost forgot. Now, when people don't think, when you ask them 5 + 6, they reach for
The phone.
their phone.
So
They
they
don't know
open
that
the
it's
calculator.
11. But the world is moving on. Now, people don't learn again. They ask Google. It's okay. That's where we are going.
Yeah.
But let's use that to build our businesses. There's a comment on social media. This one, I didn't get your name, but it says, good afternoon. Which other phone can we use in this analytical process? Next week, if I get clearance from my producer, we will demonstrate here on the show how you can use your phone to mine data to help your business. Kobe promises us that he will do that. So please join the show next week and make sure that you get your friends to join as well. This one is from Edmond. Edmond says, good afternoon, Masterclass. Excellent exposition and presentation. My question is this. What is the relationship between business analysis and artificial intelligence? So I'll let you answer that. I was tempted to answer it first. I'll let you answer that.
So BI, business, because I do data stuff. See how Power BI came into my mind.
I'm being mischievous, and I'm going to say business analysis is a process.
Yes.
Okay. AI is literally a lifestyle. That's what we're saying.
Yes.
So it's application of one to the other.
It's essentially
but
almost like automation and artificial intelligence.
Exactly. They're not one and the same. They're different.
Yes, and you can apply AI in your business
Exactly.
analytics. So AI, just consider it as a tool that knows how to learn, to think and learn and improve everything that you're doing. So if you're doing your business analytics and you need to process data, you have an AI tool that can process the data, churn and show you patterns, show you what you can automate, show you what
you can model. You can, for example, Edmond, you asked that question. What you could do is that AI can help enhance your data analysis process so that in order to make a certain decision, you can model the 5 different perspectives of the same scenario. If we take this one out and we add this one, what will it look like? If we don't do salaries and we do this one, we do bonus, we add a percentage of this to that. You can look, AI can do all of that for you and make a recommendation.
Yep. Even make
and it saves you time.
predictions.
It saves you time.
Yes. And the good thing about AI is that it's a personalized experience. It's not, one size fits all. Once it analyzes your data, solution is going to give you is different from what it's going to give Abeku or me, for instance, because our data is different. And once you get somebody, it's even better if you have somebody train the model for you or create one based on your preferences or your requirements. Then with that, the advantage is that you have a fortune teller at your disposal where you can go and whisper in its ear and say, hey, next year, how are we going to do? And based on the previous data, I can tell you, you're going to do very well.
Interesting times ahead. We ran out of time. That's all time will allow us. But in summary, if you're going to say this in 10 seconds, what have we discussed today? Just to create, a closure in the minds of my listeners. What have we talked about today? What are we going to build on from next week?
So we've talked about basically what artificial intelligence is and some of the tools and how businesses can leverage those tools in the basic part of just data collection and processing. And subsequently, we're going to talk about more, identifying patterns and stuff and some processes that can be automated using AI. So let's say you're a business and you're thinking about how I can be more efficient. What can I stop doing myself? You might not know, but there are some things that you do every day in your day-to-day business that you can actually use AI to automate and cut down on your time that you're wasting. So yeah, that's what we're doing next.
Kobe Spiky, tech consultant, host of Geek Squad, here in the studio talking to us about artificial intelligence in business. There's so much to talk about. Interesting times ahead, but that's all time will allow us. Thank you so much for joining us. God willing, we come your way again next week with yet another exciting edition of Masterclass. Thank you for joining us.